I don't think you do.
No.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for attending this meeting of the Planning Committee on Thursday, the 13th of Feb. My name's Caleb Tomlinson. I'm the councillor for Bamber Bridge West, and I am the chair of the committee. I don't think I'm going to bother with the whole of this script, because as we can see, there are no members of the public here this evening. So if the fire alarm does go off this evening, we'll leg it that way. And if you've got your mobiles with you, like I will now, if we can put them on silent, please. Okay, I would now like to ask everyone to introduce themselves, starting on my left.
Good evening, Alex Jackson, Legal Services Team Leader.
Ben Story, Democratic Services Officer.
Peter Gabbett, Councillor for Loughborough Call.
Good evening, Councillor Phil Smith, and I represent New Longton and Hutton East.
Good evening, Councillor David Shaw, representing Howickham Priory in Penwortham.
Good evening, Councillor Peter Pillinger, representing Buckshot and Worden.
Good evening, Councillor Peter Molyneux, representing Samlesbury and Walton.
Good evening, Hayden Williams, representing Leyland Central.
Good evening, Councillor Mary Green, representing Moss Side and Midge Hall.
Good evening, I'm Councillor Keith Martin. I make representations in Middleford, and I'm standing in for Councillor Stringfellow.
Good evening, Debbie Roberts, Planning Officer.
Good evening, Elizabeth Hindle, Head of Planning and Enforcement.
Okay, thanks for that, everyone. I've had a very late apology from our colleague, Councillor Lomax. Something very, very important has come up, and he just couldn't make it, and he couldn't get a sub. Okay, so item agenda number 3 this evening declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations on tonight's agenda? Okay, thanks for that. And item number 4, the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of January 2025. I have them in front of me. I've read them. I agree with them. Can I have a seconder, please?
I'll second those, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for that, Councillor Smith. Can we go to the electronic vote on the minutes? If you weren't here, please abstain.
Thank you, Chair. Our members have voted to approve the minutes of the last meeting with 1 abstention.
Wonderful. Moving swiftly on to item number 5, appeal decisions. Lizzie, could you provide an update on these?
Yep, thank you, Chair. We do have had one appeal that we need to report to Planning Committee. That was at 196 Longmeaner Gate in Midge Hall, Leyland. That was for a planning application for a bungalow, which we had refused under delegated powers. That was then upheld by the inspector, so the appeal was dismissed. Thank you, Chair.
Great news. Good. Okay, if we can move on to item number 6 now. Samlesbury Hall, Preston New Road, Samlesbury, plus the addendum. Debbie, if you'd like to present this item, please.
Thank you, Chair. Okay. Samlesbury Hall, as you probably know, is a Grade 1 listed building. To the south of it, we've got Samlesbury Hall Lodge, which is adjacent to Preston New Road and screened from the site by woodland. To the north, British Aerospace, BAE, and Samlesbury Hall glamping site. To the east is a large car park, Bluebird Golf and the Enterprise Zone. And to the west is a small car park around here, Samlesbury Hall, and a complex of, I think there are 5 dwellings behind the garden wall. The application relates to a central grassed area here and access from the Bluebird Golf side. Site screened on all sides by woodland, apart from an internal road which connects the large car park to the small car park, and it's not readily visible from any other property or from the hall. The proposal is for erection of 2 tents, an events tent, marquee, for want of a better word, and a small kitchen tent on this grassed area. As I said, all of this is woodland screened, and this bit to the north is BAE. Okay, the 2 tents. The events marquee is 13 metres wide, 31 metres long, and it's 6.5 metres high. So bungalow height, roughly. It would house business events, exhibitions, festivals, talks and performances as part of the Samlesbury 700 celebrations. Samlesbury Hall's 700 next year, and they've got a programme of events to celebrate that. In addition to coverage of an outside area that's currently used for the calendar of events for the hall itself. They have dog shows, food shows. At the moment, they're outside on the grass, so it's just for inclement weather. The smaller tent is a kitchen marquee, so it's 6.8 metres by 10 metres, 5 metre ridge. It wouldn't be used for cooking or for preparation. It would just house some warming ovens. Food would be cooked in the hall, and it would just be stored there before it's served at events. Both would be sectional with pitched roofs and curtain wall sides. Environmental Health have confirmed they didn't want an odour assessment because of where they are in the proximity to other properties. And they've suggested use of 9 in the morning till 6 p.m. at night for a trial period of 12 months. The applicant's all right with that condition. But the tents are some distance from residential, and we wonder if it might be a more reasonable time, might be 9 in the morning till 10 at night for a trial period of 12 months. That's in your gift. We have put the tighter condition on the recommendation, but you are welcome to change that if you need to. The applicants made it very clear that only one wedding or event will take place on the site at any time. So if there's a wedding in the hall, the marquees won't be used or vice versa. And we've put a condition on there as well for that. Tree and ecology surveys have been provided apart from conditions. There's no issue there. The site would face the large car park, the cafe and the Bluebird Golf. It wouldn't face the the residential, but the closest residential are behind a walled garden, which is beyond the car park and the hall itself. So they're well screened. We've had 7 letters, which are summarised in your report, but no statutory objections subject to conditions. And we would go, I meant to say at the beginning, there's planning permission and listed building consent. So we recommend approval of the planning permission and that consent is granted for listed building consent. So you would have 2 votes, please. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Debbie, thanks for your presentation. Councillor Pillinger, Councillor Martin and then Councillor Green.
Thank you, Chair. Was the original application for the longer time? If it was, and I think I would be inclined to propose that we accept the more relaxed timings.
When we discussed this with the hall director, she was thinking 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Environmental health are nervous in terms of noise, not so much that it's in close proximity to residential properties, but because it's a marquee noise at night travels. It's probably 100 and something metres from the closest residential. We suggested a trial period of maybe 9, 10 o'clock. The hall were happy to accept it. Environmental health have asked for 6 o'clock. Personally, I think that's a little bit tight for an event's 10, but I can understand why. The hall are willing to accept whatever we'll give. What they have said, they're going to have a very big event in June. And our environmental health have agreed with the noise assessors to attend the event, to do 2 sets of noise assessment, and complaints, any comments we get in the next 12 months and that noise assessment will factor into whether they apply to remove that condition or not. Thank you.
Councillor Pillinger, do you want to come back?
Only that I would propose that we allow them to open until 10. These historic buildings cost the earth to maintain, and this is a valuable business for the area. I guess those who live nearer, I'd like to see it be a successful place, and I don't see, with it being right over by the car park and by the golf, that it actually materially affects the listed structures. So it supports keeping a valuable listed building in operation. So I would propose that we go for the 10 o'clock finish on a trial basis.
Okay, Councillor Pillinger, so that's a proposal for approval with the extended 10 p.m. Councillor Martin?
Thank you, Chair. I mean, I was going to suggest a similar sort of plan, obviously, if environmental health are a bit worried about it. I mean, the thing I'm thinking about is the wildlife that will be around it. Obviously, if there is bats and things like that, and they do present themselves, and that it could be an issue if you've got quite a lot of noise at that time of night. So a possibility could be to end the event at 9 and be vacated by 10, perhaps, to think about that, rather than end the event at 10 and then be vacated however long it takes. I think we need a stop at the noise side of it, and then time for people to remove themselves from there in a quiet and orderly fashion. I mean, that's my only concern with that.
Any addition to that, Councillor Martin?
Well,
I'd be more inclined to worry about the humanity that's there than the wildlife. Debbie, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, just to explain, the condition we've put on is for visiting members of the public to be off-site at 6 o'clock. We've got to give, as with pubs and any other business, we've got to give them time to clear up and to wash up and do that sort of stuff. Usually that's allowed at about half an hour. So if you wanted to do 10 o'clock, you could do visiting members of the public off-site at 9 o'clock. Ecology-wise, we've had the assessment and our ecologists are happy. Until the later times, it's just the noise that's pulled it back a little.
Are you happy with that, Councillor Martin? Yeah. Councillor Mrs. Green?
Yeah, 2 points actually. It said in there that they're only going to have one wedding at a time. So obviously they'll either use the marquee for a wedding with the buffet area in the smaller tent or in the hall itself. I mean, 6 o'clock really, if they are using it for a wedding, where the guests going to go in the evening, they're going to spill into the grounds and make noise just the same, aren't they? So, or have to use the hall later in the evening or whatever. I don't know how feasible it is. 6 o'clock, really, 10 o'clock might be better. And the second point is, I don't know if it's possible to put an extra condition in about, I believe the parish have put a complaint in about the outlook of it being near the hall and everything. Would it be possible? I know most of these marquees are like white or off-white. Would it not be possible to put a condition that they say get a marquee in a darker colour, like a green or a brown, that would blend more into the surroundings and wouldn't be quite as visible?
Can I come back on both those points? The plan is that they're not going to do weddings in the marquee. They're in the hall. Catering facilities, the cooking facilities, the staff are all in the hall. But what we don't want is a wedding in the hall and a big event outside. They haven't got the staff or the facilities to do it, so it's unlikely, but we're just being cautious with that. In terms of colour, no, the marquee is a gift. Somebody's given it to them. So it is what it is, but it's completely screen. If they had to buy one, they wouldn't be buying one at all. It was a gift. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Debbie. I've got Councillor Williams and then Councillor Smith.
Yeah, just following on from Councillor Pillinger's proposal, obviously I think Debbie has worded it slightly better than slightly better in the fact that public off by 10 o'clock and everything. I think that's what the meaning of council. I'm not putting words in Councillor Pillinger's mouth, but
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's what the intention was. Public off site by 10 o'clock, and if it seems like that's a consensus of opinion, so I'll officially second that proposal.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Williams. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. On a similar line, I think that everybody else has spoken on. The 9 till 6 seems a bit short. But I suppose what concerns me a bit, it just says for a trial period of 12 months, which would suggest that there's a possibility of it being there a bit longer. The condition number 8 makes it fairly clear that it should be removed before 12 months or at 12 months, the whole thing. If it was going to be a permanent structure and permanently there or there for longer, I have to say I wouldn't be supporting it, but I will support the for the 12 months and for the 700 years celebrations. I think it's quite apt and a good thing for them, to be quite honest. But I certainly wouldn't like to see it there as a semi-permanent fixture, to be quite honest.
Debbie, do you need to come in on that?
So I've pressed the wrong button of voting there. The plan is that this is going to be there for 12 months for the Samlesbury 700. If it's a success, then in 12 months' time, we will bring it back to you and we'll tell you what's happened and you will then be able to decide. So that's a decision for the future. Without planning permission, they can do this for 28 days every 3 or 4 months, but it costs a huge amount to have the structures erected. They need to get a professional company in to do it. In terms of money, as Councillor Pillinger said this earlier on, it costs them so much and they're constantly fundraising. This is the cheapest option for them. And it's a try before you buy. It's the best of all worlds. They get what they want and we've got the control to be able to stop it in 12 months if it's a problem.
Great, thanks, Debbie. Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we all understand the logistics of it and the costings, and presumably their business plan is worked out on the times here. So an increased usage time, they'll be able to change the business plan and probably have a different model, which I think would probably be a good thing. But again, I just referred, if it's coming back, it seemed to me, reading the environmental health report, that there's a bit more going on behind the scenes, as in it's going to be a semi-permanent structure. And if it was, I have to say, having seen it, I don't think I would be going forward with that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Smith. Councillor Mulliner.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I do think this will be advantageous to the hall, and obviously with what's happening over the next 12 months or so. And the fact that we could review this after that 12 months if they then put forward for another extension or whatever. the way I'm looking at it at the moment, it does say maybe even before the 12-month period it could be taken out, or no later than 12 months. So on that particular issue, I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Molyneux. Do we have any other proposals?
Just another question. So
you've already proposed approval,
Yeah, I know.
Councillor Pillinger. If you want to change your mind, you're too late.
No.
Do we have any other proposals this evening on this application? So don't forget, we're doing 2 votes. One for the application and one for listed. Okay, so the proposal is for approval with the times being changed to 10 p.m. for a period of 12 months. Okay, so if we can go to the electronic vote, and this is for approval.
Thank you, Chair. Members have voted unanimously to approve the application subject to conditions, including a condition that the premises shall not be open to visiting members of the public after 10 p.m. for a trial period of 12 months.
Okay, thanks, Alex. So can we now go to the vote on the listed approval?
Thank you, Chair. Members have voted unanimously to approve listed building consent.
Okay, that's the end of the meeting this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your attendance. The next planning committee is scheduled for Thursday, the 20th of March. And